welcome back to Casually Crafted. My name is Ashley and this is Crafty Chat number 31. So today I wanted to talk to you about temperature blankets that I have made and then the one that I'm getting ready to make. So these aren't like your typical starting in January going through December type of temperature blankets. So the way the first one came about was I started learning how to crochet when I was pregnant with my middle daughter, who's now 4, and I came across this idea of a temperature blanket, and I thought it was like a cool idea, but I didn't love all the ones that I was seeing that were like rainbow colors and just straight single crochets, and I knew I didn't like the idea of like January to December, because who knows, like, what's the point of commemorating a year that you don't know if anything good's gonna happen that year, just to have a random blanket laying around. I wanted there to be more meaning behind it. So I don't know if I read it somewhere or if I came up with the idea on my own, I don't know. But I decided that I was going to make one from my daughter at the time, who was less than a year, from her birthday to her first birthday. So that year's worth of time. So I had to go back and I found a website, which I'll link below if you haven't heard of it. It's like Wonderground something, to go back and see the weather from the past. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. Like, not every single weather station has history saved. So it was like the next town over that they took the weather from, which is fine. Yeah, so I made that first one. And it's not great. I already recorded a part that I'm going to show you here in a minute, and it's lots of mistakes. But like I said, I had been crocheting for only a few months at the time, so I was pretty proud of it. It was definitely the biggest thing I'd made up to that point. What else was I going to say? Yeah, so I think I'll just show you guys the clip that I already recorded, showing you the 2 that I made. So after I made my 4-year-olds, then obviously my older daughter wanted one too. So I had to go back even further to get her weather. And hers was weird because she was technically born, we lived in Cheyenne, Wyoming, where she was born. And then my husband actually left the day after to go to his new job in Oregon on the coast. And so I was like, do I do the weather from, where we were still in Wyoming for a few weeks, like, because my parents they came out and helped me pack and everything while my husband left. I just decided to do just the Oregon dates just from the beginning and not worry about if we were in Colorado or Wyoming or Oregon or where we were. So yeah, so I'll show you the 2, both blankets, and talk about the yarn and the colors and the pattern and all of that, just showing it to you because it's easier to show, and they're big, so I'm not going to hold them up right here and show them to you. So I'll insert that right here. Alright guys, so here are the 2 temperature blankets that I have made. This one here on the left is the first one that I made. It's for my daughter, who's now 4. And I started it when she was not quite a year old, and so I had been crocheting for less than a year. There's definitely some wonkiness going on over here. Don't really know what happened there. But yeah, like I said, hadn't been crocheting for very long. Then over here is the one that is for my 8-year-old. What happened here was that was the beginning chain that I made, and I made it too tight apparently, and so it kind of curls at the bottom there. Yeah, and hers is bigger, mostly because I used to crochet really, really, really tight, and so even though I used the same yarns and the same hook and everything, and the same patterns, hers ended up being a little bit bigger. So I wanted to talk about a few things about how I made it and why. So the first thing I want to talk about is the colors. So in a traditional temperature blanket, you might see like rainbow colors, like red being for really hot, and then down to like purple for cold. Obviously I did not do that. The purples are the cold ones, and then the pink are the warm ones, and then the blues are kind of in the middle for this first one. And then pretty much the same thing over here, just a few different shades. Blues were in the middle, purples were cold, and pinks were warm. So the way I chose my colors, basically, I just used, the yarn is Red Heart Super Saver, and since I was pretty new to crocheting when I started this, I just used what I could find at the Walmart in the next town over. So basically I just picked colors that I liked that went well together that were at that store. Some of these I had in my stash, like the pinks, I think were all just in my stash, but I knew there wouldn't be very many warm days, so I didn't worry about needing to replenish from the store. And then for my 8-year-olds, she actually helped decide what colors she wanted hers to be after I finished the first one. So some of the colors are the same and some are not. So then speaking of colors, you also have to, when you're making a temperature blanket, decide like your color range. So we lived in a place where we lived on the Oregon coast, where there's not like a whole ton of variation. It doesn't get really hot and it doesn't get really cold. So which is another reason to not do like the rainbow colors with long wide ranges, because then your blanket's going to be all one color. So I made these that I still haven't sewn on, that tells the ranges for each color. So the coldest is like the light purple, and so hers I did 6 degrees for every range. So 40 to 45 is 6, then 46 to 51, and all the way up there. Since I started it before she was a year old, and these blankets are from her birthday to her 1-year-old birthday, I didn't know what colors I would end up with towards the end. So I just did a basic range. I picked, 8 colors, and just kind of spaced it out as best as I could. Decided that 6 degrees was good. I don't know. And that's how I decided that one. But then for this one, for my older daughter, we had to go back online and look at all the different temperatures from her first birthday, or from her birth to her first birthday. So you'll see here that her color ranges are a little bit weird. So like there's like 10 degrees here, or 11 technically, and there's only like 5 here. And that is because, like I said, we lived on the Oregon coast while they were both babies, and there was not a whole lot of range in temperature. So we actually have a whole month up here. Let's see. That is basically all one color. There's a little tiny bit of different colors in there, but that big block of blue is all 1 month, and that's what this color that I was just showing you, the 5660, that's that color. So if I had made that, I did it on my computer where I put them all the numbers of each temperature range, so I could see there was like this many days of this temperature and this many days of this temperature. And there was like when I had set it out evenly, like the first one, and there would have been way more of one color. So I just kind of fudged with it until I was happy with the evenness of the amount of color. So obviously all of that blue is in one spot, but it's still more even as far as the number of days of that color versus some of the other colors. So yeah, I just kind of fudged it to make it work. What was I going to talk about next? Alright, so the pattern you can see is the granny stripe. So like I said, I hadn't been crocheting for even a year yet when I decided to do this. I wanted to do something simple but not boring like single crochet. Like I hated doing just straight single crochet. So I decided I was looking online and I found the granny stripe, and I really liked how when you have stripes of like two colors or two rows together and then two rows, how it made like this little zigzaggy stripe. And I didn't think about how if you only had one row of a color it wouldn't do that, but I still went with it. So that's what I decided to do, but I knew that 365 days of double crochets would be a very, very long blanket. So what I decided to do, you can maybe see a little bit, is each row is actually 2 days. So each day only goes to half of the row, and then I'd switch to the next day. On my computer and on a piece of paper for my second one, I wrote out each day and then colored it in to kind of match. So I'll show you the paper from this one. So what I did, and this isn't even the whole blanket. There was another paper that went with this, but who knows where it is from years ago. I don't know if you can see. Maybe I'll show you on my computer. Hold on a second. Okay, so here is the one for my 8-year-old. So her birthday was August 20th. So I actually did one row for her birthday. And then after that, after that, every row was 2 days. So you can see here, I went the 21st, then 22nd, and then I went down 23rd and 24th, because in my logic, you turn your work every time when you're crocheting, so it wouldn't necessarily be, 21, 22, 23, 24, like that. So it goes zigzaggy, if that makes sense. Not sure if I would do that again if I was to do this. If I would start over with my experience now, I don't know. It made sense to me. And I just have like the range over here. And try to kind of match. This is just an Excel, or not even Excel, but Google spreadsheet of the temperature ranges. And then I would color it in. I don't have the actual temperature on here. I think I have that in another file somewhere, but I would just color it in the color. And then, like I just showed you, I did do that on paper too, because at least for hers, I did it while traveling. So I would mark off a row as we were driving in the car or whatever. Okay, so I wanted the blanket to be big enough for them to use like forever. Like they take to college with them, they have like no matter what size bed they have. So I wanted it to fit on a full-size bed plus some hangover. They ended up being big enough to fit like the top of a queen-size bed, which is fine. And like I said, the second one is bigger, but whatever. So I did do a little bit of a gauge swatch. Obviously, I had no idea what I was doing. I don't know if it ended up being the size that I guessed it was going to be based on the math. But yeah, that's part of why I decided to do half rows per day. Because obviously it would be too long otherwise. If I was to do this again, well, okay, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do the same pattern again because I have a third child, and if it was going to be a boy, I maybe would have done it differently, but since she's a girl, they need to be the same because you know how kids are. So, but if I was just to do this again, say like the first year we moved back to Wyoming, or the first year uh, in our new house, like I don't know, I would probably do maybe like the moss stitch because that's one of my favorites, and it's smaller like single crochet, but it's not as boring. Um, or I think like a V stitch would look cool too. There's lots of stitches that would look cool in a temperature blanket. Anything that like one row like dips down into the next row, I think adds some interest. And I also thought about it would be cool to do like the highs and lows. So these are just high temperatures for the day. Now where I live in Wyoming, and there's definitely a larger range of color or temperatures, I think it would be fun to be able to see the highs versus the lows. Like for example, this morning, my van said it was -3 degrees, but then in the afternoon it was like 40 degrees and we were outside in our t-shirts. So it would be interesting to hold like two strands of something together, of the high of the day and the low of the day. I think that'd be fun. But that's neither here nor there. So I do need to start my new temperature blanket. I am using a different yarn, and I will show that and the colors to you guys in a little bit. But I did last summer sometime. I did do like the first base row, like the chain row, and then the first base row to see how much yarn each row was going to take, or each day was going to take something. And so I could know how much yarn to buy, because it's Hobby Lobby yarn and I don't have a Hobby Lobby near me, so I was purchasing them as I was visiting family. So I'm gonna pull that out, and because I feel like it's way the starting chain, even though I did the same number of clusters, I think, as these ones, it looks way bigger. So I'm going to pull that out real quick and compare and see if I need to start over. So give me a minute. Okay, yeah, like I thought, it's let's see, way bigger than it needs to be. So I'm going to have to frog that back and figure out what I need to do. So this original blanket has like 66 clusters, and this one that I just started, the first row, has 75. So not sure what math I did to get that, but that's okay, because that just means that I've overestimated how much yarn I need, not the other way around, and so I'll probably have extra, which is good. Yeah, I think that's all for this part. So I will go at some point record all the yarn and show you the colors and maybe the temperature ranges and stuff. For now that we live in a different place, it'll be different colors. So I think that is everything for here, and we'll see you guys in a minute. Alright, so now that you've seen what they look like, obviously I'm going to do my third daughter's pretty much exactly the same. I am using different yarn. I'm going to be using Hobby Lobby I Love This Yarn instead of Red Heart Super Saver. And so I've already got all the yarn that I need. Last summer I made a swatch, I guess, of a row and figured out how much I would need, and then it ended up being too big. I guess I talked about that a little bit in that clip just now. So right after I recorded that clip, I frogged it all out, tried to make it smaller, then I made it too small. And it's hard because your starting chain, it like expands a little bit once you put all your, you do one whole chain, then a single crochet row, and then you do your clusters. And it kind of expands it a little bit. So what I have now is still a few inches bigger than the first blanket, but I got tired of ripping it out and doing it again. So, because it's pretty wide. So I'm going to show you the colors that I've picked and the progress that I've made on it. I have hopefully all I need in this giant bag here, but it's multiples of the colors. So I'm using, now that we live in a place where there is a lot more temperature variation versus the Oregon coast, I did do 10 colors instead of 8. So I just have these shoved in here. I don't know if I should put them in order. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I pulled all of them out and I grabbed my computer so I could see what the temperature range is for each color. So this first one is called Hot Rose, and this is the warmest color, so it's 89 degrees and higher. I can actually tell you how many days there are of each color if you want to know. There's going to be 28 days of this color. The next one is just called Pink, and this is 81 to 88 degrees, and there's 45 days of this color. The next one is Mango, and that's 73 to 80 degrees, and there's 37 days. The next color is Light Peach, and that's 65 to 72 degrees, and there's 28 days, so not quite as many on that one. 28 is the same as the dark pink, actually. Next one is just yellow, and that's 57 to 64 degrees, and there's 32 of that. The next one is Key Lime, which is 49 to 56 degrees, and there's 38 of those days. Next one is Peacock, 41 to 48 degrees, and there's 39 of those. This next one is called Turquoise, and that is 33 to 40 degrees. This is Fahrenheit, by the way, and there is 56 days of this color, so this is the highest number. Where did they go? Okay, it went under my chair. Alright, the next one is called Mixed Berry, and that is 25 to 32 degrees, and there is 45, so that's the second highest color, followed by one of the pinks. And then this one's called Hot Orchid, and that's 17 to 24 degrees, and there's 13 of those days. And I did add white for anything under 17 degrees, which there's only 2 days that was under 17 as a high. So these are all high temperatures. Yeah, so I unintentionally made a little bit of a rainbow. I don't think I can hold them all at once. But yeah, so this goes, but it's more of a pastel rainbow, like the pinks to the orange to the yellow and green, and then more aqua teal instead of blue, and then purple. So I like them. So what I did was I went actually onto Hobby Lobby's website and I picked colors that I kind of liked from there, and then I went to Hobby Lobby while I was visiting family one time, and I did switch some things out. Like I had a different orange instead of the light peach. I think I had mango plus like a desert orange, but it just didn't fit. It was too like dark compared to the other one. So I did adjust things a little bit. Yeah, so I'll show you what I have so far. Everything is the dark purple, turquoise, and peacock, which is between 25 degrees and 48 degrees. So she was born in November, the end of November. So this first little bit is going to be cold, and then it'll get warmer, and then it gets colder again. So let's see. I am also trying out these skein savers that are socks that my mom gave me, because I'm obviously going to use up whole skeins, so hopefully that'll help keep these from tangling as they get smaller. That's the idea, so we'll see how they work out. Sorry, they're all connected still. I didn't have scissors, so when I switched colors I just kind of kept going without taking anything off. So here's one half, and then here's my stitch marker right there that I need to move up a row. So there's the half, and then all the way to the end. So with this, I will have a lot of ends. I try not to cut like here in the middle. I look ahead, and if I'm gonna have another row like right here of the same color, I'll just carry it up, but that's not always possible. And like on the ends where like this one, I had two purples in a row, so I went this way and I could just continue up. I obviously don't have to cut that end. And then I went all the way across with that purple, so it was like 3 days in a row with the purple. Then I had to switch back to the turquoise and go there. So I don't have like a specific goal of when I want this to be done. It would be nice to have it done by her birthday and be like kind of a birthday present. Right now it's just been hanging out down here in the basement, where if like the kids want to play down here, especially the baby right now, she's loving going up and down the stairs. So if I want to be upstairs, she wants to be downstairs, and so I'm like, fine, we'll be downstairs. If I have nothing else to do at the moment, I'll just pick this up and start working on it. I am using just an H hook with this one, and I don't know, I think that's all I have to say. Yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed looking at the temperature blankets. I've been meaning to start this for a while, just haven't been able to get started on it just because life is crazy all the time. So hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you guys soon in a regular Crafty Chat activity, Crafty Chat video. I do have some stuff I want to show you guys that I've been working on besides this, but I have to finish a few things first. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye guys.